Hello everybody and welcome to the Matrix Awakens on the PlayStation 5.
Oh wow, this is unreal.
It is, right. Basically everybody, partnering up with Lana Wachowski and Warner Brothers. Yes, Lana actually wrote this tech demo. I don't know if she directed it as well, but she did write it. They combined with Epic Games, they created this interactive tech demo for the PlayStation 5 that you can play on your PS5, Xbox Series X, and Xbox Series S.
Enter.
All right, but before I enter, let me just turn on the subtitles because they're by default they're off. So
this is a really crappy looking Aurora Borealis.
Welcome to the Matrix, Shiro. It's gonna get weirder from the on out.
Entirely within the Matrix.
Yes.
Okay, so.
Yeah, see it?
No. Pay attention to this because
it's right here.
All right, pay attention to this because this is actually pretty interesting.
We went into the letter A.
And now we have the opening shot of the first movie recreated in Unreal Engine 5.
I thought we were going into the Matrix, not going into the A.
You can tell because
that this isn't a live action shot.
No, it's not because you can tell because you check the Digital Foundry side by side because right now you can even tell when you do a shot by shot with it. And now we're gonna switch into live action. There we are.
Keanu.
Lana brought Keanu and Carrie-Anne Moss to shoot this original footage specifically for this demo.
Pay also attention to the dialogue because while it does contain the usual, over-explaining and philosophical discussion the Matrix is known for, there's gonna be a bit of self-awareness.
You know, how much more fitting is it that now Keanu actually looks more like Jesus Christ these days with his long hair and beard?
I'm Morpheus.
What? Wait, so is this actual footage from the movie that we're seeing?
No, this is original footage made specifically for this tech demo.
Wow, so they digitally de-aged Keanu for
Alright, and now we're going to de-age Keanu using Unreal Engine 5 in a bit, as you'll see.
And now we see Keanu Reeves himself.
Yes.
Again, it's for the question that he posed, what do you even know what is real?
There you go. Right now, the Java, like that thing with Neo dodging the bullets, right now that's Unreal Engine 5 stuff right there. They're mixing both footages. Yes. And now we're going to use Unreal Engine 5 to de-age Keanu Reeves. There you go. That's Unreal Engine 5 Keanu Reeves. That's Unreal Engine 5 Keanu Reeves. And now it's live action Carrie.
That is freaky. Like, so what you're saying is that Unreal Engine 5 could probably be used for some live-action movies later in
This is the double edge of the story, but I want to talk it after the demo is over.
And what would reality mean when a world we can build feels as real as our own?
A very boring one, unless you do something, Carrie. Believe me, trust me.
And there you go. Forgot the
Red Planet showed.
Forgot the rest of the movie. The entire tech demo will be in Unreal Engine 5. Yeah. This is fully in-game, by the way. No more live action.
Do you actually get to, play something eventually?
Yes.
Again,
yes, you can.
The line because it does showcase some self-awareness. If Lana actually wrote these tech demos themselves, it does showcase that she's trying to break out from the past.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. There is no control.
Okay. Kudos. Okay, now I can see that this is definitely animated, but still, though, for a bit, it did look live action.
Oh. Oh, hello.
That's one of the new characters from the movie, for the new movie.
Is it sad that these two feel like they have more chemistry here than they ever did in the actual movies?
Okay, but right now you're third wheeling,
hold
so
on.
if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Car.
Agents are bad, but whatever you do, stay the hell away from marketing.
Oh my god.
Some sound advice right there.
By the way, we'll never see Neo for the rest of the demo.
Wait, what?
Keanu Reeves was busy.
We want to show off our new character, Jova.
Wait, did you throw him out the window?
No,
you didn't
he
have
can fly.
He flew.
It will be more clear, Shiro, for when you actually see the movie's Matrix, but at some point Neo actually learns basically the cheat codes.
Honestly, that kind of makes me wonder if this could have been...
it's weird.
Honestly, this kind of makes me wonder if this could have been a demo for an actual game, because holy cow, this is actually happening now.
I did mention in the past, Jova, that with the tools that Warner Bros. Added to their disposal now, a Matrix game done in this day and age is perfectly possible, whether done with this kind of tech or with literally anything else. Because, especially if you implement something like the Nemesis system from the Middle-earth games that helps you create your perfect Nemesis agent, you know, the potential is limitless.
Okay, like, don't get me wrong, I know that this is currently an on-the-rails shooting system, but holy cow, these graphics being played is, well...
Yeah,
keep in mind also that, again, this is mostly just on the rails and everything. It's one thing like that, it's another to have something a bit more complex or that has to adapt.
Actually, Theo, we're going to have an open world.
The rest of the demo after this section is for. Epic Games also did have a Burst Tech demo showcasing a couple of months ago, which had something more similar to what the latter half of this demo is going to be, just with a more generic kind of setting.
You mentioned there being something of a double-edged sword to this spell, too.
Again, for the ending, but after the demo is over, Joe, don't worry.
Still, though, I'll admit this does look pretty impressive.
It's mostly about managing to render all these objects at the same time at, you know, speed record, and keeping the performance stable.
One of the cool things for me, one of the most cool things about entering into a new generation of consoles is what can be done now with the new hardware. And this is a good tech demo to showcase something that could not possibly be done on the PS4 and Xbox One.
Also, is it weird?
This gen's not even a year, barely a year old.
Is it weird that this is probably the most alive that the character sounded? Again, not to diss too much on the Matrix sounds, but...
We have to still see the resurrections.
That's the thing. Well, Jova...
It's gonna reflect the tone of that movie.
Well, Jova...
I've seen some impressions.
Yeah. Well, Jova, I can't... I don't want to get into a discussion about that movie. That's for later. Obviously, that's not the time right here. But I will say that it seems that the movie... so far, critics are saying that the movie is apparently very meta and pokes a lot of fun at itself. And don't get me wrong, I understand that there may be potential for some good stuff in with that. I just hope that the game doesn't go full, you know. I just hope the game doesn't overdo it and basically becomes a movie that just mocks itself all the way through, you know.
Also, is the music just recycled from the movies, or is new?
Some of it. Yeah, it is new, but you can tell that the very sometimes you can hear some cues from Don Davis, but only brief cues.
Don't worry, folks, it'll all be fine. You're just cut off from the Matrix. You totally won't die in the real world.
It also doesn't give me any confidence, Joe, that one of the writers, that Lana's co-writer for Matrix Resurrections is one of the writers of Cloud Atlas and Sense8. So, yeah.
Mixed feelings. But still, though.
But that's not the time and place. For now, let's just focus on this. So yeah, that was a good showcase of all the explosion effects, the particles, and now before we get into the open world segment, let's showcase the various features. We have Mass AI, crowd, and traffic system. You can even press X to toggle the unrendered versions, the actual proper hitboxes. So there you go. We also
this will become a thing.
We have World Partition, which is automatic world streaming, meaning it can stream data a lot better than Unreal Engine 4.
I wonder if a lot of games using Unreal 5 will have this toggle option so you can see what games look like on a more skeletal level, just to appreciate more of the work that goes into them.
You can do it all the time in this demo because, well, this is meant to be a tech demo, so basically... Epic Games is basically telling you here's what the engine can.
TV section of what a game could look like. Yeah.
Epic Games is basically
just using a Matrix skin.
Epic Games is basically telling you, yeah, this is what the engine can do. Try it out, see what you think. There you go. Meta sounds, aka procedural audio generation. So basically, thanks to how fast the Unreal Engine 5 can render stuff, it allows the developers to take once again full advantage of the console's new SSDs to basically eliminate load times from the equation. And there we go. Now we get to play as the new character from the new movie in this open world. There you go. We can explore the entirety of Sidney, which is the town that the first Matrix is shot in.
Nice.
So there you go. You can also actually mess with the settings. You can turn off the crowd and traffic. You can even, and yes, as you can see, the game right now has a matrix filter, meaning it makes everything look greenish, like the movies did. However, you can turn off that filter if you don't like it. I'm guessing you appreciate that feature too.
Okay. Did I complain about that in our original movie?
Well, recently me and Deji were watching the movie, and you mentioned something about the filter making everything look greenish and everything, and how it can make things a bit iffy and shit. So.
Been a while.
So what? Okay, so does this play essentially like, your typical Grand Theft Auto open world thing? You can walk around, hijack cars and whatnot?
Yes, you can go into cars, but you cannot hijack them. The car has to be empty for you to enter into. Hey, look! It's Australian Big Ben.
All this is kind of making me sad that the Matrix Resurrections wasn't filmed in Australia.
Weird, like there's a clock in every one of the four, but anyway, yeah. So basically, this is the drone mode. In drone mode, you can basically explore every single bit of the open world to see things. Basically, so you can see how the buildings look and everything. So basically, the game gives you this drone feature, so you can take a good look at the entire sandbox, so you can see what is around and everything. So there you go.
I mean, as far as free tech demos go, this one seems like a pretty big one.
Again, it's just it's something that you can tell that Epic Games want to really make
the challenge. Ha.
Thinking about education, City West College. Okay.
So much detail in every nook and cranny too.
Gotta show, yeah. It also makes good use of the ray tracing for the reflections. So there you go.
I wonder if these new techniques also help them develop this stuff quicker too, despite there being a lot of detail.
It has to be a conjunction effort between how the engine adapts to the console and how the console architecture allows, the versatility.
Mm-hmm.
This is why, like Pedro mentioned multiple times, the architecture of consoles like the PS4 and PS5 is very important to be worked on, and why instead they didn't work for the PS3.
Especially because, like I said, in order to render something like this, definitely an SSD probably would be a good thing to have, because it can that way it can load stuff a lot faster than a normal hard drive. So yeah, this is definitely this engine was clearly made with an SSD in mind. Go on, Joe.
So are buildings also enterable?
No.
Okay, that's fair, honestly. So you can basically go into a car, pretty much drive around, and
yes. You can even bump into other cars and test the physics engine.
Huh.
Oh boy.
Again, as far as tech demos go, this one actually has a fair amount to do in it. Oh,
what?
But you could just go through the people.
Yes, you don't worry, Theo. You don't kill people in this game.
Have you passed the controller to Dwaves?
No. Remember, Theo. This world is not real. So
that's the thing to you. I played this tech demo a bit ago and I didn't run anything over.
Really?
I mean, that's the thing, Jova. These, this is the Matrix. Innocent,
look at those particle
people
effects.
Are trapped.
Yeah, I know. Honestly, I feel like I could see tiny bits of the shrapnel from the car actually flying off, and yes, those.
Before commenting, well, Pedro did mention that YouTube and Twitch do not give full justice to this tech demo, and I can definitely see that. I get the idea this is one of those things that looks a lot more impressive, gives a lot more impression when you actually get to play it.
It's because YouTube's compression is so shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
when
one
YouTube when YouTube does allow 4K on their videos, you can appreciate it as long as you have the right computer for the job.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's the thing, Joe. But like, no, it doesn't matter what resolution you put it at. Trust me. Like, YouTube's compression is notoriously known for being shit, no matter what you do. Even when you render the video at the exact same codec and format that YouTube recommends, there's always some compression artifacts that come with putting the video on YouTube. Sadly.
Alas. Oh my god, the door even hangs open when it's banged up enough.
Well, that's something that even GTA on the PS2 did, so that's not really.
Oh man, imagine GTA 6 on in Unreal Engine 5.
Probably. It's probably going to be using the...
No. Here's what Rockstar's gonna do. Now introducing the remaster of GTA 5 using Unreal Engine 5.
Sure, fine.
I mean, would you put it past them at this point, honestly?
Sure, fine.
Okay, so let's...
No. Actually, remastered GTA 4.
Well, might as well ask you now. Now we have the Matrix filter on. What do you prefer, Matrix filter off, or now with the Matrix filter on?
It does give the identity that the franchise have. Again, I argue, yes, it does make things look dreary, but to be honest, it has been, the identity that the series has established at this point, so fair enough. And it's mostly just a filter that's mostly applied to what is, well, a city that's in the real world anyway, so...
What do you prefer, Pedro?
Matrix filter on, because like Theo said, well, if I'm going to play a Matrix game, might as well have it look like a Matrix game. I mean, it is, like Theo said, it is the trademark look of the series, so at this point, you kind of need to have it.
I've always wondered if that's how the characters who are aware of the world see it as well, with that green filter.
What about you, Shiroi? What do you think? Filter off or filter on, like we are now?
I wasn't looking at it because of the thing, but I'm fine with it on, considering, I saw the earlier stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay. Well, how does it look right now to you?
I mean, it looks fine.
Keep in mind, Shira, this is still a more tame version. The movies have a tendency of going a bit hard on the green.
I know. Seeing random clips of it, it's a very green movie.
Yeah.
I mean...
Lana loves her green, Shiroi. So.
I mean, the green is much better than whatever the Twilight movies do.
But Shiroi, I've been told that green is such an uncreative color.
But don't you see...
Hey,
come on.
Green is an awesome color.
Come on, guys. It ain't easy being green.
A very cursed internet short.
Yes.
Because I'm green, isn't it?
So, you cannot go on top of buildings, I try, because usually what happens when you turn off the drone mode is the character will automatically teleport to the closest place on ground. There you go, as you can see. I can't go to the top of the buildings. So again, the primary idea is to showcase the particle effects, everything that basically the engine can do. So there you go. And that was the Matrix Awakens. So, final thoughts. Shiroi, what do you think?
That seems pretty good. I mean, for a tech demo, and I mean, it was funny. That's it, I guess.
Okay, Dwibs.
Say that was a good introduction to the Matrix franchise for you.
So
probably not, from what I've.
So Dwibs. After Enter the Matrix and Path of Neo, how does this fare up?
This is that's the thing that actually, Pedro. I can't call it better than Enter the Matrix or Path of Neo because by all accounts this isn't a game. It's a it's just a experience as Epic and Warner Brothers and Lana specifically stated.
Epic experience.
Lana, that's the thing, Shiroi. The thing you have to understand about Lana, Shiroi, Lana loves her tech, so she loves high-tech stuff like this. So that's probably why she jumped immediately on working with Epic on this.
Yeah, and if she ever got the chance to do a Matrix game using Unreal 5, she'd probably jump on it. But yeah. I mean, it's definitely in terms of like, okay. If I want to be loose, in terms of games where you can control characters in the Matrix, this is definitely the best one. mainly because it's not a glitchy mess. Nor the characters actually walk and move like people instead of just moving their arms up and down like they're doing some weird march while running.
Yeah.
Nor is it pixelated even by the standards of PS2 games. And also, I actually do appreciate that. Even if for a little bit, we got to see Neo and Trinity as their trilogy selves for a little bit. So we interesting to see how they do it as their current looking selves in Resurrections.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, again, that's the thing though. Never would have thought in 2021 we're getting stuff related to the Matrix again.
Well, as it is the era of nostalgia, so why not?
Yeah, I guess. And again, yeah. To be fair, if as for Resurrections, to be fair, if Lana could come up with a good story, then fair enough.
Not to mention, Dwebs, after the failures of multiple projects in a row, at this point, this is probably Lana's last chance to properly, get back into good graces of mass audiences at this point.
Or the very least with Warner Brothers, because I mean, remember, up until
there's been 8 years since Jupiter Ascending.
Yeah, and also with the exception of Sense8, all of the Wachowskis and stuff. I guess aside from their first thing, all their major motion pictures have been with Warner Brothers.
I think the best way to put the whole thing with the Wachowskis is like, well, they're like M. Night Shyamalan, but the descent or fall from grace was incredibly sped up. Like, M. Night Shyamalan took several movies before he had his fall from grace. The Wachowskis had their big break with a big franchise and managed to sink it by the end of the trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it was all downhill from there, apparently.
I mean, I did like V for Vendetta. I have not heard good things about The Invasion, which they ghost.
I've seen it. I've seen it with. I can tell you that it contains a bit of their pretentiousness.
I have grown a bit of a soft spot for the Speed Racer movie, but I really need to get that thing to look at it again to get a better feel from it. But other than that, and maybe V for Vendetta, seems like okay. Unless you're watching it just to make fun of it, like with Jupiter Ascending, it seems like the project
for me.
Just
sorry. Go ahead and finish. Sorry.
It seems like their projects just went downhill, sadly.
For me, it's
culminating in Jupiter.
For me, it's one of those things where while I don't necessarily hate Speed Racer, I cannot stand the visuals because they're so. Like we were talking about flashing earlier. Now that movie has some really obnoxious flashing, but I'm okay. I like V for Vendetta too. To be fair, I did not care for. I didn't care for the Matrix trilogy, especially Revolutions, but. And to be fair, I do enjoy Jupiter Ascending if I just watch it as a comedy. So there is that, but it's still a terrible film. But no, by far to me, the movie that I hate the most is by far Cloud Atlas. Cloud Atlas is just.
I've not seen that movie, but I have heard stories about it.
But Cloud Atlas is where the Wachowskis officially gave up on even pretending to not show them that it's their ego on full display.
Let me put it this way, Jova. It's long, intrusive, annoying, and potentially damaging. It's essentially a spike dildo.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
And Sense8, which is with the Netflix show that got canceled prematurely because apparently even Netflix users weren't watching it. That show is basically Cloud Atlas, a TV show. So obviously it didn't work much better either. Yes, I did. My guess is Jova. After all those failures, both critically and commercially, Lana just got to a point where, well, I guess my only chance is to ride the nostalgia train as well. So Lily surprisingly did not return for this one. But she's doing TV.
She's working on something else.
She's doing TV work apparently. But this is interesting because this is the first time Lana and Lily have been apart work-wise. So should be interesting to see.
And Warner Bros. More than happy to concede for this, considering they also are loving to push a bit on the nostalgia pedal. I do hope that the Matrix characters do actually show up in multiverses because there is potential for that as well.
Go on, Dips.
I don't think Lily was involved in the second season of Sense8 either.
That's the thing, Dips. The quote-unquote second season was basically just a big movie thing to try to wrap up everything in a rush, basically. So
But yeah, overall, it's definitely an improvement on the previous Matrix interactive media that we've played. I mean, unfortunately, that's not saying much, considering, again, this is more of an experience, so you don't get to do that many things. Plus the quality of the previous two games, quote-unquote.
Okay.
But if anything, if they tried an Enter the Matrix-esque game again with this engine, I'd be okay with it. But yeah, that's about it.
All right, Deji, what do you think?
It's a very interesting tech demo, and I feel like this could be used as a basis for a new Matrix game, or a remake of Path of Neo and Enter the Matrix. That was the one that we saw yesterday, right?
Enter the Matrix. No, Enter the Matrix is definitely one that probably needs a remake because, yeah, like I said, that game kind of...
remember is like either the running cycle or the climbing animation. They are super awkward to look at.
Yeah, they are. Like a remake of Enter the Matrix could definitely not Path of Neo. Path of Neo is not. Path of Neo is. Don't get me wrong, it's hilariously insane, but yeah, it's probably not really worth it to make a full-blown remake of that. Go on, Dej, continue.
Yeah, but it also shows the power of what Unreal Engine 5 can do, and I'm very excited for the future of gaming.
Cool. Same. Anything else?
Nope.
All right, Jova, what do you say?
Yeah, it's a pretty outstanding tech demo here, and like I said, it does feel ironically like the most clever Matrix script I've seen in quite some time. That's not to say that the original Matrix doesn't still have its qualities here and there. It does. But I don't know, something about this felt more fun, in a sense here. This is because the fact that the characters were allowed to have some snark and wit.
That's the thing, Joe. Based on, like I said, based on the impressions of that we've had from critics so far of movie number 4. Apparently, this new Matrix movie is much more snarky and meta and pokes fun of itself a lot. Which again, I'm gonna give it a chance still, but I'm not entirely. I hope the movie's still sincere and doesn't go full self-deprecation. To be honest, I hope it doesn't. Because don't get me wrong, I'm not a fan of the original trilogy necessarily, but at the very least, those movies were sincere. I hope the sincerity hasn't been taken away. It's just a worry. That's all it is.
I hope meta as a.
Trust me. Hold on.
Let Jova speak. Let Jova speak. Yeah.
That I absolutely do agree with, in the sense that, yes, it's nice for it to make fun of itself a bit, but still, don't just go dissing your source material. Lean into it still. Like, come on. You just gotta accept it and work with it. Yes, improve on it, but don't just try and shoo everything out there, because warts and all, the Matrix trilogy did still have a dedicated fan base.
Yep.
A fan base that weathered over time, and again, yes, a lot of them had their ups and downs with the franchise back in its heyday. But all the same here, work with it. Don't try and retcon it all out here and there. Make it better.
Definitely. There's actually a very dedicated Matrix fan base to this day. For example, there's this YouTube channel called Matrix Explained, and they're still making videos to this day. And they're constantly here's what this scene from this movie means. Like, they're constantly trying their best to promote positivity regarding the Matrix trilogy and everything involving it. So
you know what? That's fine. I mean, I do acknowledge that they have a lot of problems, but I'm also not in the dark on why it did garner a fan base, or why some of those fan base even stuck around here, despite some things that did happen. Oh boy, look. When we eventually get to our generation's commentary, there's going to be plenty of problems to cover.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still a franchise that I do feel like, okay, look, there's a good reason that the trilogy did still inspire a lot of parodies, or hell, even callbacks to it.
Okay, I'm pretty sure someone is still parodying the bullet time, even to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And remember, Jova, Wesker did use the same clothing and sunglasses style back in, 2010?
Resident Evil 5, I believe that was. Yeah, so...
Oh my
god,
that was a Matrix reference?
I'll say this.
Pretty much.
This tech demo gives me not only a good feeling about the future of gaming, but also a good feeling about the future of the Matrix. Like, I do feel like it can all evolve properly.
Okay. Teo. I'm sorry. Jova, are you done?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Teo.
Alright, as for the tech demo, this is definitely impressive and showcase what the Unreal 5 might be capable of, you know. I still believe the first demo that Epic Games did show does a bit of a better job in showcasing what you can do with something more in action. This is mostly just to showcase how much stuff can be rendered at the same time, but the gameplay as a result is relatively more simple than that. So it's more like two sides of a coin to that front. And as for the Matrix itself, it is definitely a good time for having a resurging video game-wise of the Matrix, not just with a new video game, potentially using this technology, but also, like I said, for crossover potential, like having, you know, Neo or someone else appear in multiverses, for example, you know. So we'll see if that entails. I can only pray, however, that this particular potential does not get squandered, because the other sides, I mentioned before, of what that beautiful speech at the beginning was, the whole idea of, look, with this technology, you can recreate environments and people like you in the real world. I just hope that people some dev teams do not take this almost to a literal T, because I gotta be honest, I don't play video games to be looking like this and being basically your generic sugar. I'm sorry. I know that there is a fan base for that kind of thing, but I don't really play video games to be reminded how the real world actually looks. And Alfred Hitchcock did say it best 50 plus years ago. The more a media achieves, the resemblance to reality, the more it strives to its death. So we'll have to see. This in itself is not a problem. This is a power. We'll have to see how the responsibility attached to that is used.
Oh yeah, like every tool.
We can only wait and see. Well, the same went for the Unreal 4, Pedro, and we know that that team did use it to put it to good use, like Square Enix, for example, or we just saw it recently with Kena Bridge of Spirits, But as you can see, this particular demo is pushing it to try to push it to its boundaries, and I don't mind that, but I just don't hope that there are people who will take it too literally. But again, only time will tell on that front. Small thing to add. I also do wonder if it's going to create an effect similar to, say, the late gen, say, PS4, Xbox One, or late gen PS3, Xbox 360, where in order to maintain these new advancement in graphical fidelity, games had to sacrifice the performance, because what we achieve right now with the new generation of console, the idea of having to choose between a native 4K with a 30 FPS or downscaling to 1080 but with a more consistent 60 FPS, is the ideal outcome that I do believe should be the standard right now. And I do wonder if instead this new technology will not give us this choice anymore, but instead will opt to push it up to its extreme, because while the video itself is also in 60 FPS, we have seen a couple of sections where it seems that the frame rate seems to be still kept. Obviously, it's probably just because it's a work in progress, it's a tech demo in the early state, and like we have seen in all console development stages, the early times are still rough, but then when the things get to be, people get the hang of things, they can achieve better results with the tools at their disposal. So it might be that, but it might be a small concern that they have for the future that we'll have to see. But I think that's pretty much it. As for the franchise as a whole in itself, I had just realized with what these discourse that we have that the Wachowski's catalog is something that I kind of need to get back on, because when I do remember the Matrix movies, giving them another watch in recent times might be a good idea. I might have seen Jupiter Ascending once, but we never technically commented on. We tried Cloud Atlas and failed miserably at that. And I did try to watch a bit of Super 8. Sorry,
don't insult Super 8, please.
Pedro, apologies.
No. I'm don't worry, I'm joking. Go on.
Sense8 one time with Pedro and Liz were watching it, and I wasn't too impressed by it as well. I'll give it a shot to Resurrection. Not in cinemas. I'll probably just wait until it's leaked. There's a digital copy potentially available, just for for fansies to see, and hope to see if this franchise can flourish anew, or both in general and also in video games. Because again, to reiterate again, there is immense potential for having a Matrix video game, and the time is nigh with the technology at hand to create a definitive experience. And if any Warner Bros. Can create stuff like games based on the Middle Earth franchise, or more recently Wonder Woman, with infinite possibility given to customization with stuff like the Nemesis system, the Matrix has no excuse to not receive a video game in this day and age. So fingers crossed on that, I suppose. Pedro.
Yeah. Well, like I said, like, it's a tool, and like any tool can be used for evil and for good. So it's not a problem with the tool itself. It's just like no, but I love that shit. Okay, while I'm not into it as Lana and Lily clearly are, I also really like the tech side of video games. I know that a lot of people nowadays don't care much for it, or not that it is, but I still really like the technological side of video games as well as the artistic, because, well, it's kind of like what the old Pixar mantra was back when they first started: technology inspires art, and art inspires technology. Which is why the tech side of anything involving technology is important to talk about. And that's something, and that's why I appreciate this tech demo for being a good way to showcase to the masses, like, take a look at this thing. Look how awesome this technology is. If you're curious about it, go look it up and see what went into this. Like, it sparks that kind of curiosity. So I do appreciate it for that. Because I feel like there's a bit of lack of appreciation for the technological side of gaming in today's day and age. And like I said, when I was a kid, one of my earliest memories as a gamer was when the Mega Drive first came out in 1989. This was 3 years before Sonic 1, keep that in mind. But even before Sonic 1, they were releasing games like Michael Jackson's Moonwalker and stuff like that. Games that looked amazingly like a huge step up, a huge jump compared to the NES. So it was in the Master System. So it was, and that was something that I always liked from this but on. Always with each new console generation, where you would constantly see these. Oh, okay. So let's see what is possible now with the new generation of hardware, because it's always been one of the cooler things for me. So I appreciate this game for being kind of the modern today's equivalent of that. This is definitely something that is showcasing the new possibilities that can be accomplished with the PS5 and the Xbox Series X that cannot be done on the previous gen. So definitely cool face, and it looks amazing. Like those particles, those explosions, the way it runs at a native 4K with 60 FPS. It's just absolutely stunning from a technical standpoint, which is basically what the whole idea is. It's called a tech demo for a reason. And I will admit, while I do like the writing in this bit, it does feel the self-awareness is nice. It's fun. It's funny, like Shiroi said. And however, like I said, I'm hoping that the writing doesn't go too self-deprecating. Again, that's the worry that I'm getting. But I'm still gonna give the movie a chance. I'm just saying it's a worry because while I'm not a Matrix fan necessarily, that doesn't necessarily mean I want this to be their direction. If that is the case, of course. If it's not, I'll just say I was wrong and that's it. It's just a worry that I get because so many pieces of media decide to go that route, and I'm kind of tired of it. But yeah, obviously, like Theo said, the gameplay is very simple, but that's fine. The primary idea for this is called a tech demo for a reason. The primary idea was to give a basic idea of what is possible in this engine, and that does that job pretty well, I will argue. So yeah, pretty awesome. So yeah, Lana, see if you can find someone who's see if you can find some Warner Brothers studio that is interested in making this. I mean, I know Ed Boon is not going to make it because he's busy with other stuff, but I mean, Rocksteady is also busy. Maybe after they're done with Suicide Squad, maybe you can get Rocksteady to make a Matrix game. That would be cool.
Again, my ideal would be instead Monolith, the ones at the service of the Warner Bros. But they're busy with a Wonder Woman video game right now.
True, but hopefully we'll be able to find someone to make a Matrix game. That would be. I would like to see that. Why not? Right? Like Deo said, now the technology has actually caught up to the point where we can properly make a Matrix game that doesn't suck. So, okay. And that's it. That was The Matrix Awakens. See you for when we eventually start those Generations commentaries and possibly redos of Enter the Matrix. And who knows? Eventually we'll see you in Matrix Resurrections. Hopefully it will be good. See you then.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.